A very good morning, students. We start our lecture 7 on the topic tillage and tilth. What is tillage? Tillage refers to the mechanical manipulation of the soil in order to bring the soil to the ideal condition for the seed germination, seedling establishment and growth of the plant. And how the tillage is done? Tillage is done with certain implements and tools such as moldboard plow or even harrows, rotavator, so that you get a fine seed bed for cultivation of the crop. So the father of tillage, we call it as Jethro. He is an agriculturist, primitive man, used to disturb the soil for placing the seeds. So the word tillage is derived from the Anglo-Saxon word, that is Old English word, which is tilian or tiolian, which means to plow and prepare soil for seed to sow, cultivate and raise the crop. So, if you see the tillage, it was coined by Jethro, who is considered to be as a father of tillage, and tillage operations are carried out to prepare a fine seed bed for sowing of the crop. Then when we understand the tillage, there is another definition called as tilth. What is tilth? It is term used to express the physical condition of the soil resulting from the tillage. After the tillage operation, the condition of the soil, we call it as tilth, the physical condition related to the soil structure change which promote good seed germination and crop establishment. And the term used to express the physical condition after the tillage operation, we call it as tilth. And for a good tilth, we have two indicative properties. Which are they? The first is size distribution of the aggregate, and the second is mellowness or friability of aggregate. The size distribution, under irrigated condition, the larger aggregate of more than 5 mm in diameter, under dryland agriculture, smaller aggregate of 1 to 2 mm in diameter is ideal tilth, we say. What is that? Is under irrigated condition, it should be more than 5 mm aggregate, that is soil cloud size or aggregate size should be more than 5 mm in diameter, and in dryland agriculture it should be 1 to 2 mm in diameter. And the friability, that means the capillary and non-capillary pores should be in equal proportion, that is 1:1. What are capillary pores? Pores under which the water is held under the micropores, and non-capillary pores are generally the macropores. So under the friability of a good tilth condition, the capillary and non-capillary pores should be 1:1, and with respect to the size distribution, for dryland agriculture it is 1 to 2 mm, and for irrigated agriculture it is more than 5 mm. If we compare the tillage and tilth, what tillage says, it is a mechanical manipulation of the soil into a desired condition. For mechanical means by tools employed to achieve some desired effect, whereas tilth is a physical condition of the soil brought out of the tillage that influences the crop emergence, establishment, growth and development. The soil is tilled to change its structure because texture cannot be changed, to kill the weeds and to manage the crop residue, whereas tilth is a loose, friable, airy, powdery, granular, crumbly structure of the soil with the optimum moisture suitable for working and germination of the seeds. In few earlier classes we were discussing about the types of classes of soil, platyclasses or prismatic classes. So certain disadvantages with respect to that class can be overcome by the tillage operation that brings a good tilth, which is friable, loose, powdery and granular in structure. So it is independent of tilth. That means tillage is a preparatory operation. This results in the dependent of tillage. It is very difficult and time consuming. It is result of tillage operation. Example of tillage is plowing, rolling, harrowing and cultivating, whereas crop rotation and cover crop can positively make a good impact on the tilth. The next characteristics of a good tilth. What are the characteristics? The term tilth is to describe the quality characteristics of a loose, friable and crumbly condition. In other words, tilth of a physical condition resulting from the tillage. A higher percentage of larger aggregate of more than 5 mm diameter of tilth is required for the irrigated agriculture, while for higher percentage of smaller aggregate of 1 to 2 mm are desirable for dryland agriculture. Then What are the objectives of tillage? As we have discussed already, the objectives include the preparation or to prepare a suitable seed bed or to encourage, which encourages the seed germination, to remove the hard pan. When you see the soil profile, OAECB, certain zone which are zone of elevation, there is a hard pan over here, that is regolith. In order to break that hard pan also, you go for tillage. Then to conserve the soil and moisture, mainly tillage improves the water holding capacity of the soil. It improves the soil physical conditions, mainly soil structure, soil aeration and spore space. Soil structure in the sense, generally crumbly structure is the ideal structure. Aeration is the oxygen availability in the soil, and the pore space is the porosity. It establishes a specific surface configuration for sowing, irrigation and drainage. The mix that applied to the manure and fertilizer. Whenever you applied a manure in the soil, that can be mixed by the tillage operation. It destroys the pest and insects and their breeding cycle, mainly affecting their egg stages which are present in the soil. These are the objectives of tillage. The next advantages of tillage: it loosens and aerates the soil. It helps to mix the harvest residue, dries the soil before the seedling, and when it is in autumn, helps to expose the crumble over the winter through frosting. And it also exposes the soil to the harsh heat, where the seed seeds get dyed through desiccation. Then disadvantage of tillage is that dries the soil before the seedling emerges. Under dryland agriculture, if you go for the tillage, generally it results in exposure of soil to the harsh sunlight, where evaporation of the moisture from the soil takes place. Then soil loss of nutrients like nitrogen and fertilizer and ability to the store. Mainly the volatilization of fertilizer loss is under the operation of tillage. Then decrease in water infiltration rate, chemical runoff, then reduces the organic matter content in the soil. It reduces the microbe, earthworm, destroys the soil aggregate. It also affects the compaction of the soil and eutrophication. What is eutrophication? It is a phenomena of enrichment of the nitrogen, phosphorus into the soil that results in algal bloom or growth of algae, which results in high biological oxygen demand. So this tillage operation, where nutrient runoff into the water body takes place, that in turn results in the eutrophication. So it can attract the slugs, cutworms, armyworms, harmful insects in the leftover residues after the tillage operation. These are the disadvantage of tillage. So what is the influence of tillage on the physical properties of the soil? In the earlier class, we were discussing on various physical properties such as texture, structure, then followed by plasticity, porosity. In this way, how this tillage influences these physical properties? We'll start with the pore space. Soil is made up of particles of different size, air and water filled space. Between these particles constitute the pore space. When a field is plowed, the soil particles are loosely staked in a random manner and pore space increases. Under good tilth condition, capillary and non-capillary pores are in equal proportion, which facilitate free movement of air and water, which increases the infiltration. The next is soil structure. Soil which is such as crumbly and granular are good for the crop production. When soil is subjected to the tillage at optimum moisture, leads to the crumbly structure, which reduces the erosion greatly, and soil structure will destroy when tillage is carried out in a inappropriate soil moisture. The next is bulk density. Generally, when soil is loosened with a tillage, the soil volume increases without any effect on the weight. Therefore, bulk density of the tilled soil is less than untilled soil, because in tilled soil the pore space is higher. So, bulk density becomes the lower in under the tilled soil. Then soil color, another physical property. Tillage increases the oxidation of iron and manganese and decomposition of organic matter, resulting in fading of the color. Then soil water. The available soil water depend upon the soil porosity, soil depth, random roughness. Roughness is a measure of micro elevation and depression caused by the ridge and furrows. All these characters will influence the tillage. In soil temperature, tillage loosens the surface soil, resulting in decrease in the thermal conductivity and increase in the heat exchange. If we are talking about the effect of tillage on the soil physical properties, we discussed with respect to the various properties such as pore space, soil structure, bulk density. Generally, bulk density decreases with the tillage, soil color changes. So, because of oxidation of iron and manganese, because of tillage, then soil water holding capacity increases under the tillage operations, and soil temperature, tillage uses the soil surface, resulting in decrease in thermal conductivity. It increases the heat exchange. So after this, in part 2, we will study the type of tillage.